thing that comes to me is not of this world. Not of this world. See, the world we perceive is not created by God. You made it. You made it up. The purpose you gave it is to prove that you're special. To prove that you're separate. That's the purpose you gave to the world. Yay. And that purpose denies who you are. It denies God. It denies the Creator. And in doing so, it brings up sufferings for you. It brings up sufferings for you. Now, before you ever saw the world, you thought you were guilty. Before it ever arose in your mind, you thought you were guilty. And the world you made was projected to demonstrate that what you thought is true. But what's demonstrating back to you in form, what's coming back to you for your eyes to perceive and your ears to hear, those things don't mean anything. The witnesses that you made are witnessing back to you. The witnesses you made are witnessing to the guilt you saw within you. So there's guilt all around. Look at all the guilty people victimizing now. The only problem and the only reason it makes suffering for us is because we refuse to see them as ourselves. We refuse to see them as ourselves. They are something. You know, I was in yoga this morning, and you know, Matthew McConaughey came in my mind. I saw an article about him saying, "Oh, you know, wearing a mask, that's just a slight inconvenience. We're going to have way more freedom soon." So then I'm in yoga, right? And all of a sudden, Matthew McConaughey, and I thought, how could you be such a dumb fuck? Right? And as soon as that occurs, kind of like a little red flag goes off in my mind, because I know there's no Matthew McConaughey like that. Okay. He's not doing anything that I think he's doing. He's God. Okay, he's God. He's representing something that I thought about myself. I saw it in myself, and I'm projecting it outward. Okay? Willingness to admit that is what allows healing. What is healing? It's peacefulness. See? That's an uncomfortable thought. That dumb bastard, or whatever I love to see what it's actually saying. You know, you don't have to believe it, but it's funny. It's actually comedy. You know, it's actually comical. It's saying, oh yeah, it's over there. It's over there. It's over there. Or even projecting onto yourself. It's the same exact thing, actually. I see people just like out loud call themselves a dumbass. One of which is one of my family members. God, I'm such a dumbass. That's the exact same thing as projecting on another person. The person that you call yourself, that you believe is yourself, is also a projection of that guilty thought. There's really no difference between your body doing something and another body doing something. Bodies don't do anything. They're like puppets. Yes, my love. Did you raise your hand, or are you just like stretching?
Just because I say you're a dumbass all the time.
Oh, awesome! That's great, because if you're aware of that, and now you're keen to it. Whenever you say you're a dumbass, there's a resonant feeling that comes up with that. It's non-peace. It's non-peace because it's about you. So your mind, the way it takes it is whenever you say you're a dumbass, it's reinforcing that thought that you separated yourself, that you're guilty for having done a sin. Okay, so it's reinforcing that thought about yourself. So believe it or not, the world of dumbasses that we're perceiving, right? The world of dumbasses that we perceive, that's all made by us. So we have the power, and we have the power to resolve it in our mind because we are not seeing them clearly. And that's what the ego would not have you see. The ego would not have you see that. The ego would have you see that the chaotic image that you perceive of them is real. And it's 100% fabricated out of the thought of separation. And that person is just as innocent as anyone because that person is God. I'm sure you've heard so many religions and whatever say, there's only God. There's nothing but God. Okay? So it doesn't matter what kind of image we perceive, what kind of image the person's putting on. I mean, take the worst person that you can think of, and that's someone different for everyone. Take the worst person you can think of, and they are just as clean as a newborn baby. They've never done anything except in your dream of them. You've been dreaming, and that's why you're having a perception of them. See, we've heard so many times about how life is a dream. There's even a song about it. You know, the one about the boat being married?
Sing it.
So, the thing is, if there's not willingness to take whatever it is that's being revealed to you and bring it to that truth, that it is a dream, that you are making these people up, you'll never get to that point of peace. You won't get any relief. You can't get relief. See, the ego gives you a certain kind of relief. It's an ego relief, and that's when you project like that, as in, the thought arises, the thinker is not you. That's not you. The thought passes, and you either make it meaningful or not. That's the only choice you have, whether to make that thought meaningful or not. So if the thought that condemns another is meaningful to you, you are condemned. Not really, but in your dream. In your dream, it makes manifestations, okay? The manifestations are all coming out of the mind. Now, everything that you perceive is totally a blessing. It's a gift. Whatever you perceive, that is what's used for healing your mind. Whatever it is the means that's used for healing your mind. So whatever you perceive, that's perfect. And you don't get to choose the means. You don't get to choose the means, okay? You can say you authored the means, but you don't get to choose them because as a perceiver, you have no idea what you want. You have no idea what's good for you. You know how I know what's good for me? Whatever it is, that's good for me. Someone just stepped on my toe, that's good for me, okay? Whatever it is that arises in my perception, I'll tell you, that's got to be one of the most difficult things to see, because and only because of stubbornness. Only because of stubbornness. I mean, all day long, a thought will occur to me like I'm actually responsible for doing shit. All day long. Like, am I gonna go eat my food? I don't know. It's funny that it occurs to me because if you watch with an open mind, you watch everything that occurs, your body movements, your voice, whatever it is that you seem to want, whatever it is that you seem to do, you'll come to the realization that this thing is like a puppet on a string. And the thinking mind has no control over it. The thinking mind has no control over it, Okay? That's what I mean by that is the thoughts that are occurring to you. As in, I'm going to go and do this right now. Okay? It's not like that, you guys. The thoughts occurring to you only as a matter of course, but the thing that's already done. Okay? There's no such thing as time. It's like set out in time as if you were going to do that and then this happened. Okay? But the thought and the thing, they're both being projected by the same mind. The greater mind, higher than that projected mind that you think you are. Higher than that thinking mind. So when you get an idea like, I should have done something, I should have done something differently, I shouldn't have done that thing, I wish I didn't say that. It's all just guilty projections. None of that is meaningful at all. So when those things occur and you don't give meaning to them, that's how that idea of separation gets healed. Little by little, as these thoughts occur to you, you have an opportunity to allow what underlies those thoughts, the lie that underlies those thoughts, to be healed. Okay? That's what the whole perceiving dream is all about. That's all it's even for. We don't need to get any particular outcome. We don't really want the world to improve. We want the world to dissolve. Because the world we made is a total loss. Look, what happens at the end? Okay? That's not eternity. We don't want that. Okay? Sickness, stinkiness. The idea of lack, the idea that you could lack something. Okay? We don't really want this world. We want to use this world to see, to regain our sight, to regain our spiritual sight. That's what this world is for. It's only for seeing again that which we knew before but thought we were unworthy of. Okay, it's a veil. You've heard of it being veil, right? So this is like dissolving the veil. If you take every thought that occurs to you, and in a time like this, you're giving great opportunities. Yeah, you're giving really awesome opportunities. You know, there's all kinds of perceptions of oppression, I don't know, what is it, meanness, violence, you know, any perception that you have and you take it into your energy field and let it be resolved there, that's how it really gets solved. No one needs to take any action to change anything. No one actually needs to take any action. And I say that as I'm in the middle of drafting a criminal complaint against the mayor and the government. Okay? I find myself in the middle of that. I know I'm not doing it though, so it's no pressure. I don't even have to finish it.
But you will.
Hope is very confident in me. You see, there's two levels. There's two levels. There's a spiritual and there's a material level. Okay? This often gets confused. You know, morals are all about that. What you should be doing, what you should not be doing. How do you justify what you did? You know, no one has a choice in it. No one has a choice in how they act in the world. They have no choice. They're playing out. They're on a stage. You could say, okay, take a dude like Hitler, right? He's not doing anything. He's manifested out of a need. There's a need for that perception. Everyone is serving us. Every single one is serving us. There's a need for that. So there's a play, and it's for awakening. It seems like right now it's for freedom, but we're already free. That's the thing. No one is not free. We cannot possibly be not free. We're just making it all up to as if someone has some kind of control over us. And when we make it like that, all we're doing is making more illusions. It struck me earlier this week. Struck me so much earlier this week. I got this 2-page document, or maybe it's 51 pages. Never mind, it's 51-page document. Someone wrote it back in the 1800s. Forgot the dude's name. Could be a woman. I don't even know. But it was about the Civil War, and basically he was talking about how the North had an agenda, and that was to do it under the guise of their freeing the slaves from slavery, but then really what they were doing was enslaving the entire nation. And basically that's the one that's still running around. And it just struck me, whoa, this is just samsara. That's the same thing over and over again. We just do these cycles. It's not going anywhere. You know, and when it first hit me like that, it was like real deep. I was like, that just doesn't make me feel motivated to do anything. It's just gonna go on again and again and again. It doesn't really make me feel motivated to do a thing here, you know. And just sitting with it and asking for guidance, because it wasn't a pleasant feeling. Like having that, it's sort of like this opening. Sometimes an opening isn't a real pleasant feeling. It's an opening of, oh, whoa, okay, I see this thing spinning. And every time I see it from a different angle, this world spinning endlessly, knowing we've been here millions of times. And it hits me different. It's not a particularly comfortable feeling. So, you know, in that, and just asking for guidance on that, because whenever we're feeling something uncomfortable, that means the perception is being looked at through the lens of a thought that doesn't serve us. It's a thought that doesn't serve us. So it's a fearful thought. And, you know, all of us are entertaining a fearful thought. All of us, or else we wouldn't be able to form a body and perceive a world. We wouldn't be able to have that veil. We have to have a fearful thought. And it presents itself in all different kind of ways. You know, you just look at your reactions. Just look at how the reactions are. So I asked for guidance on that, you know, that feeling like, ooh, man, I'll sit around. I don't feel like doing it. What's the point? What's the freaking point? And then what came so clearly is there's no point in doing anything. And you don't fucking have a choice. You have no choice in it. So then I find myself, you know, re-inspired all of a sudden. And then it's like midnight, and all of a sudden 4 pages of my first cause of action for a complaint just down. And just like, wow, this is fun. I'm really stoked, and you know how fun this anything you find yourself in, any kind of work you're doing or any kind of situation, it's all for having fun. And when you're allowing yourself to have fun, you're going to find yourself doing the things that you're having that are fun for you, apparently. See? You allow yourself to have fun in whatever it is, you're going to be like, wow, I'm so stoked. I always get to do the things that are fun for me. There's never anything that can be thrown at me that's not fun. You can play with anything. See? Some people get concerned that I might go to jail. One guy's ready to help me out with bail. He told me he's ready. And the thing is, it's like I've already gone there. I haven't physically ever found myself in jail or really in any kind of trouble with the law besides like weed violations back when I was a teenager and stuff. But you know, they didn't even write me up. They just told me to go to class. So now, you know, people are going, wow, people call me up, wow, I'm really concerned. And you know what? The thing is, knowing who you are is the protection. That is protection. Okay? Just knowing who you are. when there's not this sense that the other people are separate from you, then there's no power. The power is in that sense of separation. There's no power, there's no perceived power in them to have some kind of authority over you or some kind of authority over your body or anything like that. You know, you just don't buy into it, no matter what it looks like. You know, even if it looks like, hey, you can't come in here without a mask because of this and this, even though it looks like, wow, they're not letting me pass. Well, you set them there. You set them there to not let you pass, or make the illusion of not let you pass. And who knows, maybe you'll find yourself going, okay, thank you, bye. Or maybe you'll find yourself going, 911, I'm being assaulted. This person isn't letting me pass. Either way, it's the same. What makes a difference is how you see it. One of the biggest handicaps that I see is this idea that we could do things differently. Should I do it this way or should I do it this way? Should I do it like this or what way would be more spiritual? Say, what way would be more spiritual? What way would be more justified? What way would be the most reasonable? You know, it's like it is coming. It is coming. You don't have to justify yourself ever. You never have to justify yourself. Why did you do that? I don't know. I'm watching the show like you. I mean, that's the ego talking. Why'd you do that? See? And you might have the ego come to you in a form of another person and be like, why'd you do that? You know, in a way like you need to justify yourself. And always it's the same thing. When you justify yourself, as soon as you justify yourself, you've made yourself guilty again. As soon as you justify yourself. One thing that I like to play with when I have an urge to justify myself, say someone says something about me and it's wrong. It's wrong and I want to correct them. Let's just say, this is my friend Hope. She likes to do yoga. She practices for like a half hour a day. And I'm thinking, no, I always practice for like an hour to an hour and a half a day. I want to say, and just to hold that. Like that's just one example. You can come up with whatever you have, you know, just to hold that and let the person think that you only practice a half hour. That's the situation. Because there's a burning inside. You can see the I want them to know. Like, I don't do it like that. You know, my husband would always make a comment, and man, it would like hurt my pride when he would make this comment, you know, because it would always be like, Hope's so good at doing programs, Hope's so good at doing regimens and programs, you know. Like if I go to one of those natural doctors and they give you like 15 freaking different supplements to take, I'll be all on schedule, taking it whenever I'm supposed to, you know. I'm like in the yoga room like clockwork every day. I take my harp teacher's lesson and she puts it on an email and I go through each one and I do each one. and you know, and to me, whenever he would say something like that, I would take it as I'm uncreative. All I could do is just follow these different kinds of things, you know, these different kinds of regimens. And it's so funny because he didn't even mean it like that. He never even meant it like that. Like he was freaking impressed. You know, but the idea is the way that I'm doing it isn't quite as good as it could be. It isn't quite, and you know, that's the ongoing idea. That's why people seek healings. That's why people go for healings. That's why people go for counseling and stuff. They are just not quite, I'm not quite that, you know. I need to just get a little bit better in this area or something. You know, I'm not spiritual enough. Oh my goodness, he said it in front of one of my friends, and this friend, you know, he's like, he goes, yeah, I know, yeah, I see that, you know, and I'm like, I go in the bathroom, I go in the shower, and I'm crying. Like, I'm like, wow, this has gotten good. This really gotten good. I really feel hurt by this, and I'm so good at doing shit. So, you know, so then after I'm getting out of the shower, I still feel like this hurt, this pain, and it's so good though. It's so good because it's just allowed to burn. It's just allowed to burn like a fire. And I'm still hanging out with them, and you know, the pain is still there, and it's like a feeling kind of like a sting or an ego pain. I'm not sure how to describe it, but it's just getting burned away with awareness, with willingness to see it being played out, and knowing that I'm making it up. It's very important. Just willingness to know. Let's say you don't know that you're making it up. You don't know. No, this does not seem like I'm making it up. It seems like this world is coming on to me, coming down on me. And, you know, are you willing to know that? Am I willing to know that? You know, just to keep that in mind. Am I willing to know that I'm making all of this stuff up so I can get the illusion that I somehow am really separate? Because, you know, that takes a lot of energy to hold up the illusion that you're separate. That takes a whole lot of energy, that thought energy. It's like, you know, if you were to see it in an image, it's like you're like this. You're just grabbing thoughts like this, so you don't die. Yeah, that's how it is in an image. Yeah, just like constantly. And you know, the body is being used kind of like as the food for doing that. That's why it's getting all worn out. It's aging and shit, and then it goes to dying. See? You see that, right? You know, it's like you get close to it being revealed to you, and then that fear, that existential fear, when you get really close to seeing it get revealed, you can see yourself. You can almost like see yourself, but it's a different kind of sight, grasping like breathlessly, like I gotta go back. I know that sucks where I'm finding myself, but I gotta go back. I gotta get back there. I can't take this. I'm nothing. I'm nothing without this world. That's the ego's game. I'm nothing. I'm good as dead without this world. So I got to keep on accumulating thoughts. I got to add them all up. You know, when you sit in silence, any of you have experience sitting in silence, those thoughts just keep on coming. You know, I have a regular practice that, you know, it could stop tomorrow. I have no freaking idea, but so far it's been going on. And it's where I'm focusing on the sound of my breath while I'm in yoga. I'm focusing on the sound of my breath. So all throughout, my mind will get pulled away into some kind of thought and then come back. Well, I'm bringing it back. It doesn't come back on its own. That's a choice that I have. See? There's where the choice is, and that's always where it is. So in that practice, I can see the things that are just said because it's so quiet that when one comes in, it's like, wow, and then back to the breath. But, you know, when it's not so quiet like that for people, these thoughts come and they get believed and they get pursued. The pursuit is like this breathless pursuit. Oh, I need this. I need this to hold myself up. I have to define myself by the things I like and don't like. See, that's the ego's definition of who you are, what you like and don't like. Okay, so that's always, you know, oh, I'm triggered because I don't like that, or I'm really happy because I like that. That's not really true, though. You're just projecting things you like and don't like so you can get those feelings. So when you think you don't like something, you're wrong. And when you think you do, you're also wrong. That's not you. These likes and dislikes are coming to you. They're only coming to you as part of the play. You know, you've probably heard before how God gives all things, okay? So it's like God gives you everything that you need, everything that you need to see through this illusion that you made, okay? Even all the thoughts, they're given to you perfectly so that you can see through. And even the sound of my voice right now, that's a thought. That's a thought you're projecting. You're projecting it. It's perfect. You give it to yourself. So it's like whatever it is that's in your perception, it's worthy of nothing less than your appreciation. Gratitude. Thank you, God. I have no complaints. That doesn't mean you can't be writing a criminal complaint. Because there's two levels. Okay? So that's where it gets confusing. And that was a pretty nice opening that I got recently too. You know, I've known and been aware of the two levels thing, but before it played out in my own experience, or it was like, whoa, no, that doesn't feel good to me at all. No, that doesn't feel good. I don't want to be writing any complaints or doing any claims or anything like that. Why? Because I don't want to make anyone guilty. I don't want to make anyone guilty. Well, it came really clear to me. You can only do that in your mind. Okay? You cannot do that on a criminal complaint or a claim or anything like that. You can only do that in your own mind. The manifestation, the manifest world, and spirit are different. And you know what else came to me? And besides, you don't have a choice. So you're either going to go with the flow, or you're going to be really pissed at yourself because you seem like you're fucking everything up by doing a criminal complaint.
Did you write on the complaint, I forgive you?
Well, it's not complete yet. I haven't had an idea like that. I haven't had an idea asking for mercy because, you know, the penalty for these things is death. So I have had an idea asking for mercy that all I would like to see is a transfer of power. I'm not interested in killing people or even putting them in jail, okay? And then these are the words that are used in the game, and my body and my intellect is like a puppet on a string being played out. I can't help it. For every action, reaction, that's the way. I don't have a say in it. I don't have a say in it. And where's the action coming from, you guys? Yes. Yay. And the action is always a choice. It's a choice between truth and illusion. So as we're making this choice for truth, and you know what's given to us today is because of making the choice for truth. Now it's getting played out. That's all. It's just like the dark night of the soul, which a lot of us have had in recent times. Some of us even since COVID, some of us before COVID, we've had that dark night of the soul experience where we really face the ego and feel like it's the end, okay? And really like burn through some illusion. That's this manifestation is manifesting that same kind of thing. It's like dark night of the soul. It's time to burn through the illusion. Stop fighting. Surrender. Forget about this freedom fight. There's no fight in freedom. Surrender. Surrender to the flow. And look, it doesn't mean you're not going to be used for the play. You will if that's what's meant to be. But what I find is some of my friends, like just recently this week, Sweetie came over and she was telling me, I just wish I could do more. And I said, you are not capable of doing anything. So that's a meaningless thought. That's actually a meaningless thought. You wish you could do more. How would you do without believing in that? Pretty good. Because ultimately, that's what's helping. That's what's helping is knowing who you are. And that's what's being asked of us here. You know, it's shown to me in so many ways, and one of them is the common law of way. I mean, it's just like your spiritual sovereignty and the ego, the de facto government that positioned itself over it with all its rules and codes and ideas about who you are. It just needs to be revealed. It needs to be shown up for what it is. And that's exactly what is transpiring in the illusion now. Okay? It's being revealed for what it is. It's just a harmonious play. There are no bad people, let's say. Let's say there's no bad individuals and there's no bad actors. Like everyone's acting their part out perfectly. You know, those ones that seem to be committing crimes against humanity, it's being done for us. It's all being done for us. So when there's acknowledging that, also there's less stagnation. Look how much stagnation people have been going through. Sitting around on the computer, waiting for Donald Trump to do something, waiting for him to come back from an ex-presidency and stuff. And you know, it's like you're thinking, and the more thinking, the less inspired action. The more thinking, the more you're on your computer, and all that stuff, looking all that stuff up, looking at the news, all that kind of stuff, the less there will be any inspired action, because it's like a block. It's like a block. And this idea of waiting for an external savior, that's been going on the whole time. It's you. You are the one. You don't have to do anything. You can't do anything. You have to accept the healing. That's all. And you know, there's nothing wrong with. I'm not going to say that there's something wrong with getting on the computer, watching the news, all that stuff. Watch. Just watch. Because you're not really doing that thing. That thing is a manifestation. Watch your mind. Watch how it's jumpy. Watch how it's jumping around. Okay? And all you have to do is watch, because when you take that position as the one who's watching, it resolves on its own. And you know, don't put a time limit on it. If it's just playing out for like 9 months or something, just keep watching. It's okay that any time that you perceive is really small. This whole dream is just like a wisp. It's like nothing. So any time period that you perceive is just really small. If you're all stressed out looking at the news and stuff and hoping something is going to come and save you, then watch. Watch how that feels. Watch how it's going. And you know, be willing to see that you are the Savior. You are that. And, you know, hang on just a sec. Not thirsty there, but whew, it's on a roll. Okay. You are the Savior, and the ones that you perceive are coming as if they're separate from you. They are you. They are you. All of them, though. Not one of them, not like singling out one of them, and they're gonna save me. Look at it like this. They're all to save you. Like whatever one happens to be crossing your mind, whatever one seems to be before you, they have come to save you. If you're on the phone, say you're calling your credit card company, right? And you're talking about some travel that you booked. And then COVID came, and you're like, hey, can I get my money back? And they're like, no. Okay. They are there to save you. And they can watch. Watch how the mind will go to adversarial, right? And it's not adversarial in the action, you guys. That's where to see it. It's adversarial in yourself. Watch how an event can make you have a bad day. Heard of people having a bad day? It's because an event occurs and they make it into something. And an event occurs and it seems shitty, and you start the day off like that, and you might get a whole bunch of them all in a row. I've seen that happen too. Okay? I've seen a guy come over to my house, tell me how full of shit I am in my house, because I'm always talking about spirit and love and light and stuff like that. So he tell me how full of shit I am. I'm like, okay. So thanks for letting me know. So then he gets all this shit happens to him, right? And he spills something on himself in my house, and and so that was just one thing, so I didn't really think anything of it. He goes back outside. He left his window down, and he had meat in his car, and my cat ate some of his meat. And then it wasn't candy; it was a long time ago. And then he got really, really pissed, and he wanted to screw the cat up. He was just gonna fuck up my cat, right? So he was going after my cat, and then he steps in dog shit. He never catches the cat. And then he goes, so you say that when you start making something wrong, a lot are wrong. Yep, that's exactly what I'm talking about. And he was kind of like, So you're just all love and light, all love and light, all love and light. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Airy fairy all the way. That's a simplistic way of saying it. But at first there's not getting it. At first there's resistance. There's resistance. You don't know what you're saying. You're just a dumb whatever. You just have an easy life or something, making the shit up. And then people start to, as they see more, then they start to go, oh, wait a second, maybe there's something to that. And it messes with you though. It messes with you because it seems like, no, how can that be? This is really happening. I need to get mad about these things. One guy told me that he needs to be depressed because it wouldn't be fair to people in another country that were suffering. It wouldn't be fair if he was happy. So he's not allowed to be happy, so he could be like those people over there. And I've heard that many times, and I think it's an underlying thing, even if people don't say it and don't even know they have that sense. It's almost like, I can't be having that much fun when there's people suffering. Okay? Even the suffering people we put there. No one's really suffering. They may be having a dream that they're suffering, but that's still only in their dream. And you can do something about it right now. That's what's amazing. You can do something about it right now. You can allow yourself to be at peace. You can allow yourself to have joy, because that's the only way you can extend it to your brothers and sisters, even all the way across the world. You cannot extend what you don't have. How can you give a gift of what you don't even have for yourself? How can you? See? So that's an ego trick. And it's kind of like an underlying energy, like you can't have that. You got to be upset about something and pick it. I mean, anytime. There's always all kinds of things that you can just choose from. The problem and the solution aren't separate from one another. You don't have to go out looking for the solution. My 19-year-old son gives me some good teachings. He talks about how he needs to go out and look for the adventure, his ambition. Go out and chase the ambition. I said, you don't really have to go anywhere for that, Not really capable of going anywhere anyways. There's really nowhere to go. When you're going in your mind like that, like I've got to go somewhere to find something. I got to go somewhere to find something. It's just reinforcing the idea that there's this thing of space. And that you can go somewhere and get something. And that you have a choice in it. So it's just like all this. See, the choices that you apparently make come from the thoughts that you've made meaningful. Okay? So you don't have to make any thoughts meaningful. You don't have to make any of them meaningful. And then all your choices are just 100% spirit guidance. So you have two guides. One's ego, one's spirit. In every moment, you can either make a thought meaningful or let it be meaningless. Let's put it that way. Either make a thought meaningful, ego. Let it be meaningless, spirit. So when the thought is meaningless, what does that mean? There's peace with it. There's peace with whatever the thought is. And demonstrating to your mind that that thought has no authority over you. Just like the thought that all these codes and rules and all those things have authority over us. It's just like the ego. The ego is this false authority. It has codes and rules and regulations, and you have to have a license for something. You better be qualified before you do anything. Right? Who sent you? Who told you you can do that? Who told you you can crack people's backs? Who told you you can stick needles in people when they want that? Who qualified you? See, it's just like the ego's voice. It's always going, wait a minute, did they just step out of line? Did they just... What makes them so special that they're at the DMV without a mask? You know. What makes them think that they're so special? What makes you so special? Whenever the ego is talking, it's some kind of condemnation. It's some kind of doubt, some kind of questioning. Why should I be kind to them? They don't deserve my kindness. What have they ever done for me? Okay. Yeah.
So, I've been watching this for a little while, this ago, and I'm having this experience that the more I watch it, the more I'm like kind of scared of myself, because now I'm really watching, I'm starting to like, you see it, and know what it's about and what it's doing. And I think what I'm doing now is I'm in judgment of it. And because the more I watch it, the more I'm like, oh, fuck, this thing is slippy. Mm-hmm. Not the creepiest, slippiest. How do I, so I've been trying to be compassionate, find some stance of look, that's what I do is I ask for other eyes to see this. So I'm like, okay, Holy Spirit, intercessor, whatever, angel, give me eyes to see this thing is not the most disgusting, scummy, the only best thing. Is there a cheat code? The more I look at it, oh my God.
Okay, so when you're seeing it that way, when you're perceiving it that way, it's coming with a feeling. Yeah. So that feeling it's like the doorway. The feeling is. So it's like really, there's a lot of defenses against feeling that feeling fully. You'll see the defense manifest as a projected thought. So a thought will come, try to get you some relief by projecting. Okay? Keep turning your attention back to the feeling, back to that sensation. Because that's what's working it out. When you have your attention on the sensation, that's working it out. If you're getting really intense ego trips right now, that could be one of those dark night of the soul kind of experiences. You know, it doesn't last very long in the scheme of things. It seems like forever when you're in it. Yeah, but you know, if you don't see the ego as comical, you're not seeing the ego clearly. You know, you're still identifying. You're identifying as that ego. So since you're identifying as that ego, that tells me you still have to go through the fire. So the fire is like these really intense feelings, and it gets really hot. When you turn your attention on it, you'll feel heat. That's why they call it holy fire. You turn your attention on it, you're going to get that heat. Let that burn it away. Be really glad. It may bring tears to your eyes. It may make you sweat. Be really glad that you're letting it burn away. Now the ego is really tricky to get you back in projection, and it's really easy, you know, to get, you know, to pull you back into projection. Don't concern yourself with that. Just bring yourself back to the sensation. Just keep on bringing your attention back to that, and be glad and grateful. And if you're not glad and grateful, be willing to be glad and grateful. See, because even underneath all of that suffering and all of that intensity, you are very grateful for it. So it's kind of like detach. You're not going to die. This is not going to hurt you. Nothing's happening. What's the problem? It can take as long as it needs to take. You can, you know, you can shiver and you can cry and you can scream and you can bite things, and it's going to take as long as it needs to take, and it's okay. You know, I've seen where you're staying too. It seems like a really chill, serene kind of environment where this kind of thing can just go on. And you know, it's like you find yourself in situations like that when it's time for you to just kind of like cocoon up and just let that thing play out. Just let it do its thing. Don't try to control it or anything. It's really exciting. It's really exciting to be right at that point. Because it's not going to be for too long before these things that the ego is saying, they're not going to move you anymore.
They go from the slippy, like disgust, the slippy to boredom. And
Oh,
they're
good.
seeing that
Yeah.
Or just like, oh, what was that? Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like, tell me more. And it's always, it's just now.
Boredom. That's a good one. Yeah, that's a really common. It's basically a symptom of withdrawal. Basically we're addicted to thought, okay? We're addicted to thinking. Like, our thoughts are way more entertaining than Spirit's guidance, let's say. The silence. And well, you know, in silence, and I mean silence of thought, you have the awareness of how everything is sensed. You get down to the senses. You get down to the vibration in the body. You start feeling the pulse in your body. You know, you hear everything, you feel everything, you sense everything. You know, and it's like, it's to the ego. Your thoughts are so much more entertaining, and that's what takes you away from the experience. The experience is where you learn. You rediscover who you are through the experience. So it's in the ego's best interest to pull you away from the experience and into this dream world of thought, so you don't get the experience. That's what's going to make your awakening take longer, and the ego's pseudo life last longer. See, so that's why it's always wanting to go back in the story. You pull it back into the sensation, and that's where you're unfolding, because you're learning about yourself there. That's where the learning takes place. So this addiction to thinking, when we first start to, you know, go within, there is this sense that, oh man, this is boring. I want to be in my thoughts. Driving, that's another one. You hear people, you know, go, wow, I didn't know I got here. I was thinking the whole time. That's one place, just, you know, for me, and I find myself in the car, it automatically triggers me to tune in. It automatically just triggers me to tune in, and that's how I notice things get set up. Like when Hope said, I say what a dumbass all the time. Then you know, okay, now you know. So now that you know that, you're going to be alert and you're going to be aware of it and realize that you're talking about yourself, and give yourself some kindness. You're going to allow some kindness for yourself. You're going to allow some peace for yourself. So then you're going to you can extend that to everyone. See? The shower, that's another place.
I was thinking about, I was thinking about taking myself to AA and just making it about thoughts.
Uh-huh.
And sitting in AA and like trying to go to the program, like, I'm literally addicted to my own bullshit. And like, I'm Haley, and
I'm an addict.
Yeah.
Basically, we all are. We wouldn't see. We, it's like, but we get to be an addict to a lesser degree. And when you're finally healed of the addiction, you don't see the world. You don't see this perceived world. You're basically, and the reason is, it didn't go anywhere. It was never there. It didn't go anywhere. Your sight is just restored. Your spiritual sight, your sight of the real world. It doesn't include separate bodies. It doesn't include bodies that look separate. So we get to feel our unity. We get to feel our unity as we're burning through these patterns that make us appear separate in the mind. We get to feel our unity. And when we feel that, we're extending it. And that's how the world is basically evolving. And it's funny, the world is subjective. So, nothing's happening. Each one is making things up, and there's no such thing as time. So if we're perceiving the world and it's at a place where it seems to be at a what would that be called, like a portal place or something like that, that's because your mind is at that portal, and it's awesome. It's a huge opening. It's a huge opportunity. And it's like all of our brothers and sisters, everyone that we have perceptions of, they're counting on us too. They're counting on us to hold their hand and show the light. And we can't do that by trying to make a program for it. All right, I got this program. That could be part of it, but we do that by receiving the light ourselves. Okay, so it's like everyone's counting on us to be the light, to receive it for ourselves. And we can't do that if we're thinking all the time. And a lot of the things, pretty much everything that I talk about, when I'm telling you that these thoughts are meaningless, that's to help you to know that you don't have to follow them. You don't have to pursue them. You're going to get so many more breaks in there. You're going to get little instances of, oh, I heard a bird. Oh, how nice. See? And the bird, it came from you too. It came from your mind. You projected the bird. Oh, isn't that nice? I projected the bird. Just being here, like you could say, here with the experience. Whatever it is that you're perceiving, just here with the experience and not off in the thinking mind. See? The more of that you have, the easier and faster everything goes. If you are off in the thinking mind, Haley, I know how it is. If you find yourself, what you will, when you find yourself off in the thinking mind, it's like, I can't stop. Just kind of like take a step back from that, I can't stop too, and watch the whole thing. It's really funny. Keep on going, I can't stop. I keep on going, I can't stop. And you're like watching it. Watch how much the ego thoughts arise for you. Watch how often, watch how much. I know they do a lot for me. I know they come up a lot, and they give me a comedy show, and I think it's funny. I love it when it seems like something just went terribly wrong. Those people just got all these. I have an essential oil business. People just got all these essential oils, and now they did a credit card dispute, and now I'm out $2,000. Yay! There is no bucks. There is no money. It's a story. So the thing was like a very little significance, very little movement in me. Because as soon as I saw it, I'm like, oh, I know what that's for. It's perfect. It's the idea. There's all kinds of little goodies in there. Scarcity, the idea of scarcity, unfairness. Oh, PayPal doesn't want to give us the money back? Oh my goodness. How unfair. Unfairness is one of the best ones. Unfairness and the idea of stealing and the idea of scarcity. Because that's what we tend to live by. I'm like, oh, good. Thank you. And make sure, I'm watching, oh, this is going to be fun. The kind of insane thoughts that are going to occur to me. Make sure insane thought occurs. And it's like, get the feeling of that. And let the peace come again. Get the feeling, let the peace be there. Looking to blame someone or anything like that. Just get the feeling, let the peace be there. The solution is already there. Solution is automatic. It automatically comes. There isn't money. There's just an idea that we made up. That there could be scarcity, and that's why we have an idea called money. Do you know that there's a new idea now about how to do money? You guys will love this. I was amazed. I was like, wow. Wow. It's like this. If you do a service or work for anyone, and they want to pay you, they put a note to the government, and the government pays you. If someone does any work, or you buy anything from them, you give a note to the government, tell them they did this for you. They sold me this shirt for this much, or they did put this fence around my house for this much. The government pays them. It's like, oh, yeah, that sounds totally logical. What's that?
Inside the currency.
The government just pays, because there's no need for it. You just have whatever you want. You just have whatever you want. You can get whatever services you want. That's really the way it is. I mean, that's really the way it has always been. We've just been making this money thing as if we need it to get the things that we're getting.
I asked you about the barter system at that time. It's like a barter system, or is it not?
No, not at all.
I do something, I get paid.
By the government. And it's unlimited. But because that's the truth. That would be set up in truth. In truth, that's how you are. You don't need to earn anything. You don't really need to earn anything. I mean, look, if the government's paying for everything that you do, what are you even getting the money for in the first place? It's just like adding up. It's paying for everything that you get. It's just adding up. I got all these credits. I don't need them because the government's paying for everything. I got all these credits. It's like, that's the way it is. I've had psychics tell me before. It's like you have a rich uncle. It's like you have a rich uncle. You never have to be concerned about money or anything. And I was like, yeah, that's how everyone is actually. That's how everyone is. It's like they have a rich uncle. They don't necessarily know it. I don't always know it in the moment. I'm not always aware of my rich uncle in the moment. A lot of the times I think I'm on my own. but when I can't see that, it's very uncomfortable. It's an uncomfortable feeling. So I know that when I have an uncomfortable feeling, I have to be wrong. I have to be wrong. And so in that, way fewer thoughts are made meaningful by me. Because why would I need to follow a thought that asks me how I'm going to pay my credit card bill next month? That's freaking ridiculously meaningless thought. Why would I follow that? That makes no sense. I have a rich uncle, right? You know how many? You know what percentage of the thoughts are about freaking how money? Like how we're going to buy something. How much should I save, or how much is in my savings? Let me check my account. All of that stuff. What about that money that person owes me? I forget people owe me money. The other day, someone gave me $700. I was like, what? Where did that come from? He's like, yeah, back in 2012, you loaned me like $3,500. That's the rest of what I owed you. I'm like, oh, thanks. Okay, I kind of remember that now. And I remember when he loaned me the money, I was helping him get a book deal, you know. And he was working on abundance consciousness. So no wonder he ran into me. So yeah, so I'm like, okay, sure, I'll do that. And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna hit it big. I'm gonna make all this money and stuff like that. And so when I gave it to him, I didn't think like I need to get paid back for reals, you know. I just gave it to him. And then he called me at like a year later or something, just like, oh my gosh, Hope, I feel so bad. This just went all wrong. I don't have the money for you. And I was just like, you don't owe me anything. Don't worry about it. You know, you don't really owe me anything. I go, you can give me money if you want. You don't owe me anything. So now it's 9 years later. And yeah, he was looking for abundance consciousness. it's like, and that's really like, you know, abundance. It's like the money, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter. Like when people do the thing where they got the oils and then they didn't want to pay for the essential oils. You know, of course there is, especially, you know, getting the reflection of my husband, who's also me, and coming up and going, what a bunch of, you know, whatever. They're crooked, all these different things. And I could sense an upset feeling coming up, but then it's like, oh, I know what this is. And it's easy. It's just really easy. And then the solution, it just shows itself to you, you know. It just presents itself. It's like, oh, okay. You know, the ego might go, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? We can't accept credit cards or whatever. And, you know, it might be like, oh, maybe we're going to not accept credit cards anymore. Maybe we're going to do it like this. I don't know. But the solution just arises, and it's always easeful. It's like whatever the situation, it's perfect because of what it's for. You know, I've heard of one saint or monk or something like that. The guy was into his practice. He was practicing all day long, just quiet, practicing. So he barely had anything. He had like a cot or something in his room. Barely had any food or anything. Just in practice all day. And so someone comes and steals his shit, the little bit of shit that he has. It's like his bed and stuff. And he's there crying. He's there crying, and you know, someone's comforting him and going, it's okay, we'll get your stuff back. And he said, no, that's not the reason why I'm crying. I'm crying because, you know, because I feel that way. I feel that much scarcity. You know, that I would project that thing. You know, I feel like that. I feel that. That's why I'm crying. You know, I feel it. When you feel you know, that something's taken from you, when you feel like something's taken from you, it's suffering. But when you know it's not really taken from you, you know you never really had it, there's nothing to suffer over. See? There's nothing to try to, you know, and then I got my husband going, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do this, and I think of myself with like my hand up his axe like this. Like a puppet. You need to do this. And I'll just let the spirits grace just kind of like wash over me, wash over my body's energy, because it seems like, oh my gosh, now I'm obligated, now I gotta, it's like, nothing's happening. and then, I'm not on anyone's schedule. So when someone's all, I'm like, okay, and I'll just take the information in, and then it might evolve as something, at some point, I find myself inspired to call PayPal. Hey, I feel like calling PayPal. This is fun. Call PayPal. First they tell me about staying safe and COVID, and I tell them what a load of shit that is for about 10 minutes. Told me never heard that before. I was like, no shit. All right, well, let me tell you some more. I was like, all you got is propaganda, huh? Oh, you're ready. You ready for some information? And then after that, he settled the matter. He just settled it for me. He said, okay, well, yeah. What about this? Oh, okay, yeah. Here's that. Here, yeah. We'll give you the money back. But that isn't the physical solution. Isn't really the solution that I'm looking for, anyways. Because PayPal can still say no. You can't have the money back. And I'm the same. I'm just the same. I'm not out. I haven't not lost anything. I don't think in those terms. The ego will think in those kinds of terms. Let's say I don't make those kinds of thoughts meaningful. Okay? So I don't pursue a thought like that. Even a thought like, oh, I've gained because I've got this, okay? I'll notice the mind automatically going to something like trying to kind of like somehow compartmentalize the money that came in and the money that went out. The money that came in and the money that went out. Well, how about if we stop looking at that shit altogether? How about if we just stop trying to account for anything? If we have an illusory world and it's all magic, then why not just be in trust? Why not be just trusting that rich uncle is going to have exactly what you need? And if your balance is zero and you're overdrawn, that's also exactly what you need. I used to be so scared of getting overdrawn. I would be so anal about it. I would be on that thing. I would be like, do not be overdrawn. That is the worst thing ever. And then it was so funny because just like last week in one of the business accounts, it went overdrawn. I looked at it. I went to my online banking and it said minus something. I forgot what it was. I was like, oh, they're covering me. Because they're still cashing me through. I was like, bummed out. Well, why was that going to be such a big deal if I got overdrawn? They charge some money too, but the money doesn't really mean anything. Especially, now that we know, even in the illusion, it actually doesn't mean anything. It's actually just debt. So we're like using debt to pay for shit. So, it's like, where do you, people ask me all the time, so, how long have you been in business? Since 2011, and so that's been your sole source of income this whole time? And I'm like, guess so. And you guys are making it okay. Somehow, yeah. I mean, I don't know. It just, I don't know. It just goes. It's magic. It's totally magic. It just goes. You've probably heard that if you do what you love, if you allow yourself to do what you love, then that becomes the career, the profession, the way that you make money. You do make it. You don't earn it.
Livelihood.
Livelihood. Okay. Yes, livelihood. That's a good way. Yeah,
That's
exactly.
what I like to call it.
Uh-huh. You never have to put yourself out, right? Yeah, so it's just in allowing that for yourself. What most people don't do is not allow that for themselves. And I see that going on with my son a little bit right now. Just kind of like, I have to do what I have to do to get my ambitions. He actually uses the word ambitions. It's I gotta follow my ambitions. I gotta chase my ambitions even. So that's perfect.
These are your little sneakers.
It's so cute. Yeah. Yeah, I gotta chase those ambitions, you know, and the money is the ambition for most people. Like, I need to make money, because that's how I feel like I'm free, if I'm making money. And you are making it all up. You can't earn any money. You don't earn anything. The money that you seem to be earning is what you put there, and you made it as if you had to do something for it. That's separation. You start thinking of it in terms, I've done nothing for this. I've never done anything. No one owes me anything. Okay? I've never even lifted a finger. No one owes me. Can you see that? Where it would be like you just be. And you don't have a set thing that you're supposed to do, or a way that you're supposed to make money. See? That's what's natural. That's what comes natural for you. So when you find yourself in a world, perceivably in a world where there's scarcity, that's because you're thinking against yourself. Can you feel that? Can you feel that thought against yourself? You feel how you think against yourself, and ask for it to be resolved. Okay? And this, little by little, what I'm talking about, I'm showing you how your thoughts are tricky, and tricking you into upholding the thought of separation. You're going to have less occasion to think, because there's not as much to think about. You know, it gets healed by being brought to the thought that heals it, the thought that's the truth. It's all thought, but the thought that's the truth heals it, and it makes it so that you don't have to grip so much. So you can ask for a different interpretation. It's a different thinking interpretation. The way you're looking at it is a way that hurts you, and you're looking for a way that heals you. Okay? No, you're not meant to suffer. But you make the suffering up for yourself out of stubbornness.
Like, how to, like, find the space to, like, accept that, like, I'm having an experience of suffering. I can't deny that it happened.
Okay. You mean you can't deny that it happened in the past? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
And, like, and yet also, like, knowing that, like, it's not real.
Uh-huh.
Like, where I get so lost right there.
So you don't have an experience of suffering. You suffer over your experience. Okay? So when you're feeling lost in there, you're suffering over the experience you're having in this moment. Okay? So the past that you perceive is projected right now. And you have a choice right now. You have a choice whether to make that past real and keep on churning thoughts about it, or get the feeling right now, because right now you're suffering over that experience. Whenever you feel lost, you are suffering. Okay, feeling lost is suffering. So for right now, as you're feeling that sense that before you were suffering, there is no before. That's projected now, just to make that idea that they're suffering now. Okay? Does it give you an upset feeling now? You see that? Okay. So just completely disregard your idea of the past and get the upset feeling now. You don't need any thinking involved with this. You just take it right to the truth. Okay? So you're asking for it to be resolved by you, by your awareness, your attention on that upset feeling right now. When a thought arises that tells you you're feeling upset because of the past, that's not true. It's the opposite way around. You're feeling upset, so you're projecting a past that you don't like. That's all. You're just feeling upset because you thought you separated yourself from the Creator. So you're projecting a past right now that you have to be ashamed of. Or whatever this case may be. See? I love those ones. I love those ones. Oh my God. I was like, oh, God, you were a fucking idiot. And it's like, yes. Yes. I don't even argue with it. I just laugh. And I was like, oh, thanks. Like, gosh, oh, wow. The way you said that back there, the way you got triggered back there. I was like, oh, that's good. That's good. Because that's right now. It never happened before. Okay, good. Give that. I mean, those are some of the hardest ones, though. Can you see that? How that's like pretty difficult because of the stubbornness. It's because of ego stubbornness, identifying as an ego. You don't want to be that guy that blew up back there and got triggered and blew up back there. You don't want to be that guy. And just that right there is giving you such a huge opportunity because it's as if it actually happened. It didn't. You didn't get triggered back there. That's not how it goes. There is no back there. There's no time. And the illusion just showing you things so you can see through this thing, not so you can get more spiritually, I don't know, non-triggered guy. He never gets triggered. Just wait. Okay? You're actually here to get triggered. See, you don't have to suffer over the trigger. You see what I mean? Yeah. I tell people, thank you for playing. Sorry about that. That wasn't about you. That was about me. Thank you for playing.
Is that why ego is so desperate to project? It feels like it's so desperate to project the past because that's where it lives. Like there's no past, and it feels like there's like this high desperation around it.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
It's like when that starts to disappear, it's like, no, I don't want to remember all these memories.
Yeah.
Lord.
Yeah, that's why I say when I even have a fond memory of something, once I'm aware of it, I'll cut it off. I'll just stop pursuing that thing. I'll just cut it right off. Because that'll just as easily switch to a shitty memory.
That's so gangster.
That's what I like too. I want to be like, oh yeah, like warm fuzzy feeling.
Yeah. Because it's not true. It's a substitute. It's a substitute. The bliss that comes from within, I've shared a bunch of times, how good it feels when you have an orgasm, right? You know how good it feels. That's like a small fraction of what's given to you constantly by the source. And you know what it is that's given you? You know what it is? It's thought. It's knowledge. It's knowledge of God, which is given you in thought. And that's what feels so freaking good. And why it feels so good in an orgasm, thought is suspended. It's temporarily suspended. That's why you could feel so good. That's what that is. Okay? You don't even need to be touching any kind of sexual parts to have this. You don't have to have that kind of stimulation. You can have this all the time. That's why, monks, they're like, oh, we're not having any sex. They don't need it. They're fine. They're getting all they need.
Ecstasy of the mind.
Yeah, well, and you know what? It is all ecstasy of the mind. There's no body. There isn't even a body. We get ourselves into this idea that we have a body and we have to get the pleasure through the body, and then we are always out looking for some body to get it on with. You know, and you know what that leads to every single time. You might be going along really good for a little while, and the next thing you know, you're like, you know, future ex-wife, future ex-husband, you know. And when it's like, and you know, when it's like that in marriages too, where the body is idolized, whether it be for sex, for bringing in income, that's another one, cleaning up around the house. However, the body is, yeah, I know. However, the body is made into an idol. Whenever it's made into an idol, it's a setup for suffering. It's a setup for disagreements between the persons. You know, your body. And boy, what a relief when you have a relationship where you're not demanding that these bodies perform. You know, at one point I told my husband, you know what? I'm not gonna do the sex thing. And he's like, okay, is it because of me or anything like that? I'm like, no, I just don't feel like doing that thing. And he's like, okay, you know, just chill about it. And then I told him, then I went back, okay, yeah, all right, let's do it again. And we're doing it again. And then I go to, oh, you know what? Actually, I don't want to be instigating sex anymore. It doesn't feel right to me. I don't feel like doing that anymore. Oh, okay, so you're good with having sex less? Yeah, that's good for me. Yeah, I'm all good with that. You know, it's like no demand. No demand. And also no demand. See, the other thing is, open hand, like if he decides, well, I want a woman who's going to come on to me, then he's going to go and have another woman that comes on to him. And that's okay too. You know, it's like authentic, being able to be authentic, who you are, truthfully, without having to hold any body to you. You see how we trick ourselves and go, and I noticed that about myself, like starting when I was younger, you know, thinking that if I want to keep a man, then I got to come on to him. You know, I got to, at least, you know, I got to be the one like making some moves sometimes. Like it can't always be him. I got to be the one making some moves. So I would have myself like, okay, this is what has to be done. So then I'd be playing out, making some moves. And then 20 years later, I go, you know what? That's not me. I'm not into that. He's like, oh, okay. Still cruising. But, you know, it's like there has to be that open hand if you're going to be authentic. You know, it's like an open hand. The way I look at it, of course, it's in your mind. But the way I look at it, if you're gonna allow yourself to be authentic, you have to let the chips fall where they may. You know, people might not want to still hang out with you if you're like that. Is that okay? You know, and are you all right with being authentic with yourself? Are you all right with that? Are you all right if they don't like you? Do you need their approval? Are you afraid that no one else is ever going to like you again? If this person, maybe you're too old. Maybe that's it. Maybe you think you're too old. And maybe if this person like leaves you, then that's like the last one you're ever going to get. No need to stifle it. And you know, your natural way of being starts to present itself to you more and more. You just feel it. You feel the sense of it. Oh, I didn't have to feel so like I was obligated to be like that. No. It was huge for me when I realized I didn't have to discipline my kids. I was like, oh, what a relief. What a relief. Oh my God, I'm responsible for that? First I'm supposed to know what they should and shouldn't be doing. How do I know? How do I know what they should and shouldn't be doing? Who's going to tell me? The news? I think the news did tell everyone what they should and shouldn't be doing. One time I remember, and it made me feel so much better because I was working full time, and I had my kids in daycare and everything, and I barely saw my kids. And I heard on the news that all you need is 11 minutes a day with your kids. I was like, oh, thank goodness. That'll be enough.
7 minutes for abs.
tell them to do all their schoolwork, and tell them not to say any F words. And then I realized, oh, I had a huge opening about that. I said, wow, I don't have to tell my kids what to do. In fact, I can learn from them how to be free. I could actually learn from my kids how to be free. I could watch them and learn from them. How do they decide what food they're going to eat? Look how different that is from an adult to a kid. How does a kid decide what food they're going to eat? They just, I like that one. An adult will do all these freaking mental trips. Is it like this? Is it going to be like this? Is it going to be like this? Is it this thing? Is it this thing? You know, just watching the kids. Do I like it? Is it good? Does it taste good? You know? I tend to be quite a snobby when it comes to food and beverages and stuff like that. I'm pretty snobby about it. I know what I like. But you know what I'm not interested in? All the ideas about how you should and shouldn't be eating certain things. Not even one bit interested in that. I like good food. It feels good. And you know what? If there's only certain food around, if I go to someone's house and they have certain food, I'll just eat that food. It's fine. Or not. If it's broccoli, forget about it. But there's like some idea that the food can somehow do something bad to you, or a vaccine, let's say, can do something bad to you. You know the effects that are coming from a vaccine are not coming from the vaccine. Let's say the effects that occur after the vaccine are not coming from the vaccine, they're coming from fear. The only way you can get an effect that's negative is fear. That's the only way you can get it. So what's going on is that there's this, in the dream, there's this idea that something is fearful. I'm afraid. And so it's playing out like I'm getting this shot to protect me from it. Whenever you put faith into a thing, thinking that it's going to protect you from it, and you take it away from your source, you're setting yourself up for some kind of an illusion like that, some kind of a painful illusion of sickness or something like that. You can say it's the vaccine, and you know, if you're talking to legislators or whatever, you might say something like that. Just know that that's not true. There's no way a vaccine is going to do anything bad to you. Just like nothing in the world can do anything good for your health. Okay, nothing in the world can do anything bad or good for your health. So we're getting all kinds of different opportunities here with these things, because it looks like these vaccines are dangerous for people. Now, what if you get held down and given a vaccine? Is it going to do you a lot of good?
No.
To think that the vaccine hurt you? If you take the vaccine and you have an idea that it could hurt you, that's weakening your mind, weakening yourself in your mind, okay? So it makes you vulnerable. You won't necessarily have a vaccine type reaction. You know, you could drive down the street and crash your car or something. It's an illusion. It's like it's just spit out there, all chaotic. So the main thing is recognizing that there's nothing in this world that can harm you. And I know for a lot of people, there's a big fear of the government making vaccines mandatory and coming around and shooting you up. So what brings that about is fear. What brings it about is fear. You know, and not being afraid of it, not being afraid of like someone coming around and vaccinating you. You know how you can work through that very, very simple, practical way with anything. You know, I've had these lots of experience like this in my mind. Is get it now. Get the idea, get the feeling that you're being held down and vaccinated now. Because you can play this out and you can be healed of it and not have to fear it. Not have to be afraid. Because it's the fear that's the trouble. That's only the fear that's the trouble. It's not the manifest world. So give it to me now. Okay, like as a mother, I did that with the idea of my kids dying. Because I would get so scared of a kid dying. Well, oh my God, what if one of my kids dies? And so it's okay, give that to me now. And get that feeling and that relief, and that you don't have to be afraid of things. See? So anything that it is that you're like, oh no, not that. Like one of my friends was, what did he say? I just don't want to have any conflict. And I go, why not? Why not? Why would you go out and say you don't want to have any conflict? Why wouldn't you be welcoming everything? There might be conflict. Whenever I interact with a person, there could be conflict. They could be having a problem, especially me. I go everywhere without a mask. I was in the bank and the DMV today without a mask. No conflict. No conflict, but I'm always game for it. There doesn't have to be conflict within myself, that's why. And it's a pleasure to demonstrate that I appreciate the person that seems to be bringing the conflict. You're damaging my health. Oh, thank you for letting me know. No need to make it into, I just want to go out and go shopping without my mask and not have people say anything to me. Or I'm just going to put my mask on because I don't want any conflict. Who doesn't want conflict? Who is trying to escape the experience? Who doesn't want to be authentic and would rather try to escape and hide? Don't give me any conflict. What about just going out like this? What is it? Whatever it is.
Bring it on.
Bring it. That's right. Also, not being afraid of going to jail makes it way easier to communicate with people. Because if you're afraid of going to jail, if you're afraid of going to jail when you're trying to communicate, you're going to be defending yourself already. And when you're defending yourself already, it's like the ones that are assuming power, they get empowered by that. They get empowered by you defending yourself. There's nothing to defend, and you know who you are. And if you feel defensive, it's just because you don't know who you are. So if you feel defensive, use the feeling to burn it through until you can recognize who you are. And none of us know who we are completely. Otherwise, we wouldn't be seeing this illusion. But we're getting a chance to teach and learn who we are. We get an opportunity to teach and learn who we are through every single experience, however that may be. And who knows how that freedom rally is going to go on Saturday, because there's going to probably be a whole bunch of us. And I think people take that part in the mandate, the proclamation, seriously, where it says you're not supposed to gather in groups larger than 25. So we'll see.
Are you afraid?
Am I afraid of what?
The HPD?
Oh no, I love the HPD. Yeah, I'm not afraid of them at all. I don't feel afraid of going to jail. Like, one, I don't feel like I am going to jail. I don't feel like I am. And number two, if I did, it would be amazing. Wherever I am is awesome. That's just how it is. Like, wherever I go, it's freaking awesome. I know I'll have a kick-ass time. Okay. The only thing is, it's probably cold, so if you hear me go in there, bring me a blanket. I get cold easily. That might be the only bummer part.
That's my biggest fear of jail.
Are they going to tie my hands up like this and hose me down naked? That would be pretty cool. I saw that on a movie. I know they really did that.
Yes, it is cold in jail, especially HCCC.
Okay. Yeah, I heard. Yeah, I heard. It's funny because I talked to a couple of women actually at that one event where you were doing, and you left, and I was with two women who had been to jail recently. And I was like, oh, how fun. So what's it like in there?
I hope you like soccer online. Like it. Yeah.
I'm really good at not eating too. Yeah, if the food isn't appealing to me, I don't need to. I don't really need to. But you know, you never know. I can get so hungry. Be like, yeah, top dog. I did eat that as a kid. The top dog was good. At the time. So yay, everyone. I'm so stoked. I'm so grateful for all of you. Thank you so much. I mean, this open heart, open mind, bringing forth the wisdom from your own mind, receiving it, marinating in it, relaxing, realizing more and more peace as you go along. Even in the upset moments. You know, I get moments too where my mind's just spinning out. I'm like, my mind's spinning out. It's okay. Don't make anything of it. It's like it's kind of like you're sick when your mind's spinning out. In fact, any sickness you see in the body, that's coming from the mind too. So it's kind of like when your mind's that's nipping it in the bud. When your mind's spinning out like that, and you're taking care and you're allowing compassion for yourself, then that's a dealing with a problem before it becomes a manifest problem. You know, it's like you're working it out right there. So you know, when I find my mind spinning out, I'll just go, oh, my mind's spinning out, and I'll watch it. I'll just watch it spin out, and then once it's done spinning out, it'll be kind of like, oh, I feel better. It's like I was sick. Like I was just sick. But even while that's going on, I'm enjoying it because I know the gifts that come out of it. I'm not resisting it. I'm not pushing it. I'm not saying I'm too spiritual for this. My mind shouldn't be spinning out. I do wisdom dialogues. You know, I should be beyond this mind spinning out thing. See, that's a spiritual ego speaking right there. Your mind, if the mind's spinning out, good, let it. It's you suffering over the experience that makes it into a problem. It's you taking that experience and making it something to suffer about. I've even told my husband, I think it was just last week, he was going to bed. Normally I would be going to bed too, but I did not feel like going to bed. I just stayed up and my mind was spinning out, and I stayed up till like 2 o'clock in the morning with mind spinning out. And then I was sleeping in, and my husband's like, hey, you must have been sleeping for a long time. No, actually last night my mind was just spinning out. And so I was just like up with my mind spinning out. And it's like, oh, okay. And it's just like, fine. Not how do we stop it? How do we make it so that it's like that's just part of the process. These things are going on. These are just part of the process. You know, sometimes that's what needs to be played out. And that's the thing. Whatever it is that you're having a perception that's playing out, that's what needs to be played out. When you know that, there's peace. So the whole time the mind's spinning out and doing that, I'm also in peace with it. Because the suffering, remember, is suffering over the experience. So it's taking the experience and making it wrong. Taking the idea of mind spinning out, making it wrong. It's like taking the idea you reacted on a trigger, making that wrong. Okay? Taking anything that you perceive in this manifest world and making it into a problem. Like, I need to stop this. Or I can't let anyone know about this. I want them to think I'm ultra spiritual. I want them to know that I ever have my mind spinning out. But the more you're just aware, that's what's going on. Okay, I'm really anxious right now. mind spinning out. Okay, let's make space for that. Let's just make space for that. Let's just let it play out like that. You're gonna see, like, more and more throughout your day, you're just really aware of what you're thinking. You're just being aware of it. Because you're not making these things into a problem. So whatever it is that you seem to be thinking, you see it, and you know you don't have to give it any kind of meaning, especially if it hurts. Start off with the things that hurt, maybe. And then you can move on to the things that you really like to sit around and think about. It's all fantasy. It's all fantasy. Whenever you're going into your stories, whenever you're going into thinking about your stories, it's all fantasy. It's like a fantasy world. It's like you're stroking yourself and making time spin out, making more time with that. We don't necessarily want to make more time. I know the ego thinks that that's important, but none of us really want that. We're all kind of exhausted after millions of years of this. We'd all really like to return home as quickly as possible. And there's a balance with that too. Like you want to return home as quickly as possible, and you don't mind how long it takes. Both. See, because if you're minding how long it takes, you're going, oh, like that. You've got to get relaxed. There's got to be some relaxation. So it's kind of like a combination. I don't mind how long it takes, and I want to wake up as quick as possible. It's both. The main thing is there's a sense of relaxation, and whenever there's a sense that the world is too much, it's only because you're thinking in error and you need a correction, and you'll get that correction if you're willing to receive it. The willingness is coming. You don't have to do anything for it. Your success is guaranteed. Okay? It's only a matter of time, and it's unfolding perfectly. It'll go faster and be less painful the more you allow yourself to relax. Okay? This is all about allowing yourself to relax. Get some relief from that thought. Okay? And you're going to see more and more how to get relief from that thought. And I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for being here. Yay! Row, row, row.